So, I'm Travis Brown with Horror Movies Uncut, and we're going to spend just about 10 minutes talking about this film, Renner, that's starring Frankie Muniz. And the first thing that I want to ask you about the film, and I'm speaking with Robert Rippberger, who's the filmmaker behind the film Renner, is why is it that we constantly have to have these like Willard, Crispin Glover, like nerd characters as our representation of this type of character that has OCD traits and all types of stuff that we find with Renner's character? Why does that just still fit the norm? It's like we've not left the Revenge of the Nerds days when we see characters like this.
I mean, those of us who love books and love movies, there's a little nerd in all of us. So I think there's something relatable, and there's a lot of a world to explore. Beyond that. Not movies are always about sort of finding life and exploring life, and these are people who are, for one fear or another, not doing that. And so I think it's extremely satisfying to watch them sort of break out of their shell.
Yeah, and do you think it's nice to keep reminding the world that we have these people that are living in these bubbles and kind of existing in their own little worlds every day?
Good question. I mean, I think probably all of us have something to relate to within it,
Mhm.
So I think it's more of a sort of maybe worse for a character like Renner, but to some degree or another, there's pieces within his character that we can all relate to, and that ultimately what he's up against, this AI,
Mhm.
is also something that we're all facing and dealing with. And even if we're not, part of a sort of technical world, um, it's really about finding a path outside of yourself.
Yeah.
That it's really, the character of Renner learns to trust himself. Maybe a little too late, but that ultimately is, I think, where we all hope to be, sort of masters of our own destiny.
So, what initially drew you to this project, and what were some of the things you wanted to make sure that Frankie got across with the character of Renner to really portray what you guys envision this film being?
I mean, frankly, it was that idea of sort of finding refuge in things outside of oneself
Hmm.
that pulled me into the movie. I think we're all in so many different ways, whether it's AI or self-help, looking for answers, or sort of looking for other people to guide our lives. And rather than sort of saying, what is it that I want, and sort of acting from within. So
Hmm.
for me, just on I guess, philosophy level, that's what drew me to it. And then it's exceptionally entertaining,
Yeah.
and it has a heart, and also has a lot of popcorn to it. So for me, in sort of exploring the character of Renner, and also what Frankie brought into it, was just to make sure that it wasn't a character, a stereotype, and
Hmm.
to make sure that it was really something real.
Hmm.
And as much as possible, we drew on specifics, from Frankie's past, and things that he could bring into the character that made it real and made it his own.
What do you feel like we as humans are still just moths to the flame? Like, what makes us still drawn to this type of technology, even though there's all these fears and horror stories that we're either creating for ourselves or we're hearing about? What still makes us want to use this scary technology, even though it's continuously becoming more frightening per day?
Easy, exceptionally easy.
Yeah,
To not have to do the thinking.
yeah,
It's always easy to
yeah.
listen to somebody else about how you should live your life. It's easy,
You just
and then
want
you,
us to turn into like Wally World. Are you one of those people that want us to become like Wally World, where we got a chair that does everything for us?
quite the opposite. I mean, really, it should be that people are not using these things, and taking more time to think for themselves,
Mhm.
and doing things that are not easy, because long term, that's more reward.
What would be one thing you could pull out though as a positive of something with AI and what we see with what's growing in this emerging industry right now?
I think there's a ton, just to start sort of making understanding of significant amount of data right? They've shown that AI has been able to diagnose people that 20 doctors could not.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to processing massive amounts of data and deriving conclusions from that, it has a significant benefit to people.
So what's one thing you can say has been looked at as like growth for you personally between a film like Those Who Walk Away and where you are now with Renner?
Good question. I mean, Those Who Walk Away was a tremendously challenging film. I think people don't really realize how hard it is to make a one-shot movie.
Hmm.
And I remember, we shot this on an extremely accelerated schedule because of Frankie's NASCAR
Hmm.
calendar.
Hmm.
And at one point, I was like, "This is still light years better than or easier than Those Who Walk Away,"
Yeah.
and so. But on each film, I'm always looking at sort of like where to bring in more, um, where to just grow as a director.
Hmm.
And this one was more on building suspense, performances, blocking, really the sort of mechanics of just creating something very entertaining and very suspenseful, and sort of planting little pieces of information so that when they culminate, audiences are really horrified.
That's awesome. Well, Robert, this has been great. I really appreciate your time, man. I enjoyed Renner a lot. I think people are really going to get a kick out of it.
Awesome.
What's one thing you hope people get surprised by after seeing the film?
Man, I mean, I think a lot of people have been surprised at seeing Frankie like this, and
Yeah,
I, I can't I can't say enough good things about Frankie, and I've been texting with him and sharing some of the early feedback, and I'm just really he's such a hard worker, and I'm really happy that people are getting to see this depth to him as an actor.
that's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with
Thank you, Travis. Yeah,
here and looking forward to everything going on with you, man. Keep it going, bro. Because
awesome. Really
I'm a
appreciate it.
day one, man. I'm a day one. Just letting you know.
I
So,
got you counted.
okay, appreciate you,
You're
Robert. Have a
in.
good rest of your time, brother. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Bye.
Bye.